Hi and welcome. This time I'm gonna show you how I do when I grow chili. First I need some soil. There are special saw soil and cactus soil, but the important thing is that it's soil with a very little nutrition in it. Otherwise the roots will either burn or think that there is so much nutrition we don't need to grow that much. So the best thing is to use this kind of soil. There is another shortcut. You could use old soil from old flower pots if you clean it very well first. The important thing is there must not be too much nutrition in it. I grow preferably two kinds of chili. One is called Espelette and another is called hot lemon. Every year I also grow one for experiment. This time it's a demon red. I never tried it before, but I'm going to. Espelette is my favorite. It's very early and it has large fruits and a real good heat in it. The other one, hot lemon, also smaller fruits, but it grows very well. It's an abundance of fruits on the plants, and they have a lemon smell, or actually I would call it more like pineapple, but it's an excellent chili to dry, and you still get that citrus or pineapple feeling, scent from the chili when they're dried. So what I do, this in Sweden, I prefer to sow my chilies in the between end of February, beginning of March. If you have really hot chilies like habanero and things like that, some might like to sow them as early as December, but that's too much time for me. I don't like those because they have so long time to develop, so I prefer to grow these. They need about 2 months to develop to 5 centimeter plants, and when they hit that stadium I replant them in 10 centimeter pots, about 3 inches, and that's to get a better root development. In the end I replant them in the end pot that is about 1 gallon, or for me about 10 liters, a normal bucket with soil for the big plants, and they seem to adapt to that very well. The important thing is first of all, the soil must be wet, not dripping wet, but moist all the way through when you sow it. I use a small pencil and make a hole about 1 centimeter in each of these, and I put the seeds in. There is an old thumb rule that you should use a saw depth that's about 3 times the diameter of the seed. So if the seed is 3 millimeters, it's about 1 centimeter depth, 10 millimeters depth, or 9 millimeters if you're really picky. When I've put all the seeds in the soil, I cover it with plastic. When the seeds starts to develop, they have to be moist all the time, and during that period they don't need any light. They just need their normal room temperature. But after that it's very important to have a really good light. If you put them in the window, it will be too hot and too little sunlight. If it's too hot, the plants will grow very fast, but they don't have enough light, and they will grow long and spindly and be in practice destroyed, because they grow so weak so they can't survive the replanting. So you need lots of light or low temperature. For me, I prefer about 15 or 16 centigrades during this first months of growing, and it can be a little problem if you don't have a spare room that you can keep it at a low temperature and good light. You can use growing lights or fluorescent lights. The important thing, it needs more light than you can imagine. The more light, the better. I count 4 stages for seeding chilies. First stage, the seeds has to grow. Then they need temperature and moist dirt. You put them in and you keep them covered with plastic so they have the perfect condition for that. But as soon as you start to see some greens coming up, you have to add light, and lots of it. The more light, the better, as long as it don't get too hot. You have to have lots of light and cool, about 14-15 centigrades. And if you can keep it that way, they will grow very sturdy small plants with lots of roots. And when they get to about 5 centimeters, I replant them in a little bigger pot, and the roots will go out to the edges of the pot and then spread. That makes it, they have a really good root system when you plant them in the end pot. So, first stage, seeding, and they go to sprung roots. Second stage, small plants. Third stage, replanting, and after you replant them, they will grow to about 10-15 centimeters, and then it's time to put them out in the greenhouse. I have an outdoor greenhouse, and some kinds like this espelette can even grow outdoors here in the middle of Sweden, southern Sweden if you live in the north of Sweden. But the problem with that is that the deer will eat the plants, not the chilies, but the plants. So, I will make another video in June when I expect especially my espelette to have shown their first fruits, and I will show you how to treat the plants at that stage. And in August I plan to make a video about how I preserve my chilies, drying, cooking sauces, freezing, etc, etc. But for now, that's all from me, and see you in June at the latest.